Hello, everybody. Um, Let me try to. How I do it.
Frizinho, Stevan mesmo.
Yeah.
Mas vamos lá. Ó, Stevan caiu.
Steven.
É. Bom, Charles, vamos tocando até ele
Hello,
voltar.
everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. We are very happy to be here together again today. It's how long, Elsa, now? 10 years more in the spiritual light lives, no? Treating these subjects in the point of view of the spiritist body of knowledge, which brings us so many good hints in order to work to become a better person and to progress towards happiness. And forgiveness is one of them, isn't it, Elsa?
Exactly. It's so special, this topic tonight, that I was curious because I remember first, let's start from 0 point. Hello, my dear friends. I hope everyone is okay and enjoying this moment, talking about forgiveness, a path to inner freedom. And when I saw the title in these busy days, I remembered that I listened a few years ago a video that Louise Hay posted that it was wonderful. Exactly. Forgiveness, a path to liberation, to freedom. And I remember that I said, "Oh my God!" But this is exactly what we do and we think within Spiritism. So today we will discuss this, and I hope you can participate, give your comments, write your feelings, and let us know if your inner child is cured from the past. That is easy for you to forgive today, to have the freedom from now on. Thank you all for being with us. And I saw that friends from Estonia are here and other people. It is really good to be you all with us. Thank you so much. I think Steven is freezing again.
So,
Hello,
hello,
Steven.
everybody. I am a little bit up and going. So, forgive me if I suddenly disappear or if my image freeze. I am having some internet issues here. I hope you're hearing me well, which is that most important thing. So, Charles and Els already introduced themselves. And today, our topic is forgiveness, a path to inner freedom. And few things imprison the soul more deeply than resentment, which is hurt, betrayal, disappointment, injustice. All these can leave emotional scars that seem impossible to overcome. And yet, Spiritism teaches us that forgiveness is not only an act of mercy towards others, it is an act of liberation of ourselves. Remark my words, liberation. And Jesus invites humanity to forgive not 7 times, but 70 times 7. Because forgiveness breaks chains that bind spirits across time and incarnations. Do believe me, we do have cases in which a spirit is following the other for centuries, not just mere some incarnations, for centuries. And tonight, we will reflect on forgiveness not as weaknesses, but as a spiritual strength, a courageous path toward peace, healing, and inner freedom. Okay, I hope everybody heard what I have to say. And let's start our discussion here. And Charles, uh, why is forgiveness so important in Spiritism?
It's important because Spiritist body of knowledge shows all first the causes and also all the consequences of lack of forgiveness. Because we know we are here on Earth, incarnated. We selected this planet to incarnate because it corresponds, it's aligned with our current level of progress of our soul. Okay, and we are not perfect. I don't know if a lot of you think you are perfect. Basically, only God is perfect. So basically, also we have all imperfections. So we do all mistakes. We sometimes do wrong things. We sometimes harm someone, and because it's just part of our current imperfection. We still have uh, a long way to go to reach at least this relative perfection, because absolute perfection, again, is only God. So if we do a mistake, let's say, for instance, I'm doing something wrong to Stevan or to Elsa. Okay, what can happen? They will suffer with this wrong thing I do with them. But will what is then the reaction? They may talk to me, they may feel some resentment, they may forgive, they may not forgive. Do you think if they may not forgive, we would be here together working and trying to do this, helping you in order to understand this? Certainly not. So this can be even generalized. Since we all do mistakes, we all harm someone willingly or unwillingly, consciously or unconsciously, other people. And if without forgiveness, we could not even work together or live together. Huh? So, since we are not capable to progress alone, since humankind is following also the law of society, we have to live together, and without forgiveness, we cannot live together. So this is the basic for this forgiveness and the words of Jesus. By the way, Stephen, it's not 7 times 7; it's 70 times 7. So means as many times as needed. We have to forgive. And interestingly, the argument of Jesus is also very wise. He's saying, forgive the others if you want to be you forgiven. If we understand that the other people may do things which are wrong for us, but we have to understand that we also do things which are wrong for the others. So, okay, let's come together, forgive, and continue working together, doing whatever we can to help the others. So that's why the forgiveness is so important. And the second reason is we know that, yeah, as it is said in the title of this of today, if we don't forgive, we keep something in ourselves which is harming us, harming our soul, harming even our health. We get ill. And if we manage to forgive, forgive does not mean forget. This we will come back later on this. But if we manage to forgive, we free ourselves from this thing which was inside us, and uh, immediately we feel a positive effect for us and also for the others which are around us. That's basically it. If we want to progress towards happiness, we have to forgive, because if we don't forgive, we somehow bind us to a lower level of evolution, and it does not make us capable, or it is hindering our progress. So do we want to progress? Yes or no? Yes. So, okay, let's do whatever is necessary for it, including forgiving when the others did something wrong to us.
I think I
Thank you, Charles. Keep going, Elsa, please, please.
can't hear properly, Steven.
Keep going, please.
Yes. When Jesus gave us one of these greatest lesson that Charlie said, forgive not 7 times, but 70 times 7. This does not mean accepting injustice or becoming passive. It means more than that, freeing the heart from the poison of resentment. How many times we poison ourselves when we don't not forgive? We talked, I think, a month ago about a short story that is two friends. They grow up together. They are good friends from university, from school, etc. But one day they got married and they have a query. They fight themselves. One went to live far from in another country, and one stays. The one that was in another country, he was always thinking about his friend that did something wrong against him, something not good against him. So he was feeding this resentment. Okay, he said, "See, I'm not forgiving him what he had done with me because he was my friend." Blah 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 blah. 10 years later, he came to visit his parents, and they met because the families know each other. They met, and the one that stays in the hometown said to him, "Let's have a coffee, my friend." He said, but you did this in the past for me. Oh, in the past, let the past go on. We have a coffee and we chat, you are my friend, and embrace the other one. In the moment that he embraced the friend that was feeding this resentment, this friend that feeding resentment feel himself in light, in love, in peace, and regret the so many years that he was feeding the inner child, a bad child inside him. So, as we know, if you do the same, have things from the past, and still thinking about not forgive someone, what someone did against us or whatever, we are feeding and poisoning our soul, our body, exactly. So in Spiritism, forgiveness is understood as an act of liberation of the soul. And when I was watching Louise Ray some years ago, that I remember very much because it was touching myself with the way that 20 minutes, I think, the affirmation that she was telling about. One of them, as I say, I forgive someone. I am liberate myself. My childhood that was in the past that I have someone. Now I forgive myself what I have done. Blah 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 blah. So carrying the thoughts into liberation, freedom, and we must free ourselves. Otherwise, we carry our shoulders very heavy, our face always not good. And we need not anticipate our wrinkles. We need to be free from this kind of situation. And when we forgive, we take 100 kilos of spiritual problems from our body for sure. So, a person who cannot forgive continues relieving the wound internally, and sometimes for years, as I told the story for you, or even through future reincarnations, according to the Spiritism understanding. And when we read romances, Spiritist romances, or the books of André Luiz, we can see, and also Manuel Filomeno de Miranda, through Divaldo Franco, we can see the situation that is undergoing and going on in spiritual side for millennia, for centuries, because vengeance, not forgiveness, and time to time the same situation, and the spirits, the spirit that not forgive, not liberating him or herself, come and go in the same situation. Oh my God. We need to move on. We need to cut the circle. We need to do differently. We need to stop in ourselves something that carry on next incarnation. Eh? Resentment creates spiritual heaviness and delays our inner peace and moral progress. Also, talking about Louise Hay, that is very important. She spoke beautifully about this, as I said before. She taught that many emotional and even physical illnesses can be connected to unresolved pain, guilt, anger, and unforgiveness. According to Eloise Hay, to her, forgiveness is a healing process. When we forgive, we are not saying that what happened was right. We are choosing to heal ourselves, and we need to be healed. No? So Spiritism and Eloise Hay met in this point that I make this bridge. Yeah? Our thoughts and emotions deeply affect our well-being. I'm right or I'm wrong? Let me see what you write here in our chat. Okay? And one more thing before Charles speak. Forgiveness transforms the inner vibration of the spirit. It opens a space for peace, for self-love, for spiritual healing, and for new opportunities in life. And sometimes the most difficult forgiveness is not forgiving others, but forgiving ourselves. And Silvia always have a way that she talk about that. And Spiritism reminds us God is a loving Father who always offers us new chances to learn, repair, and begin again. So forgive is not a weakness, but we can overcome this difficulty. We can have this freedom. We deserve to have this freedom. We deserve to forgive ourselves what we have done in the past or even this present life, present incarnation, and move on. Move on, liberation, freedom. Live your life. Enjoy your life. That's so nice. No, Stephen, Charles. Stephen is freezing again.
Yeah, but can you hear me? Is my voice coming
Yes,
through correctly?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, as Charlie said, I think that's the point we need to touch. Uh, Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting something. I will let Charlie talk more about it, but wrongly, most of the times we we connected forgiveness we forget. When you say to someone, "Oh, you need to forgive him," and automatically the question is, "How I will forget what he have done to me? I will never forget it." This person is correct. They will never forget it, but how they will remember about it. This is what Charles is going to talk to us a little bit today. Charles, could you elaborate a little bit more?
it's interesting because there is a song I think from the chorus which is singing "You're forgiven, not forgotten."
Forgotten. Yeah, the
And it's
chorus.
exactly about that because a lot of times we hear, yeah, you need to forget, to forgive and to forget the offenses. But forget does not mean wipe completely from the memory. That's not the meaning. You need also not to have the opposite, which is to think continuously to this offense, because this is what the lack of forgiveness is leading to. But wipe from the memory is something else. First, it's not possible. Second, uh, we learn from the mistakes, our mistakes, we learn from the mistake of the others. And if we forgive what we have learned, it's a pity. So it's experience and whatever. So forgiving does not mean forgetting and wiping out of the memory. It's not this. And there is a sentence I would just like to read very quickly from Allan Kardec in the Gospel According to Spiritism, chapter 10, which is exactly about the subject today. He's stating, being able to forget offenses is a mark of an elevated soul. Forget in the way I just explained, which does not perturb itself with the blows it may be dealt. The one is always anxious and a dark susceptibility and full of bitterness. It's the one which has hate and rancor, which is denoting a spirit without elevation or magnanimity. And the other one, which is elevated, is calm, full of sweetness and charity. So what do we want again? Do we want to stay with dark susceptibility or bitterness, or do we want to stay calm, full of sweetness and charity, and all the health impact on the health which are linked to this? And it remembers me also another expression which is saying an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And this is, we know that some cultures in the world are really strongly believing this, even coming from their traditional religion. But what happens? Suffer something, make the other suffer something, then suffer something again, then suffer something again. When will this stop? Never. Never. It will only stop if there is, hold on, let's stop with this, let's forgive ourselves, and let's try to progress together. And one example of this is France and Germany. There was just the recent history. If I don't go to the older history, there was a war in 1870. Then there was a war, WW1, and then WW2. And what happened? After WW2, we said, hold on, we cannot continue like that. Let's do something to prevent this from happening again. It's enough now. We don't want that anymore. And a lot of measures have been taken, including the European Community and so and whatsoever. And today, since 80 years after World WW2, you can see France and Germany hand in hand, collaborating for the sake of goodness, for helping whatever is needed, and totally peacefully. Even so, a German and a French are different animals, They think different, they have different languages, and so on. But I'm living here in France, in a region very close to the German boundary. There are bridges, we come, we go. It's really as if there is no any boundary anymore. So this is really what we should aim to reach worldwide, thanks to this forgiveness. And this good example shows, yes, it is possible. So let's go for it.
Can I explain a little bit about what I read about Joana de Angelis?
Yeah, of course you can.
It is very important because when I was reading, I said, oh, this part here I can bring tonight because it's very important. So according to Joana de Angelis, I think everybody knows who Joana de Angelis was a spirit guide of Divaldo Franco, one of the spirit guide of Divaldo Franco. She wrote many books about psychology and spiritism, and she is the one that really brought something inside the spiritist studies towards ourselves, especially our inner self. And she talked a lot about. So she said, when a person refuses to forgive, they continue emotionally connected to the painful experience and to the person who caused the suffering. The individual relieves the pain repeatedly inside the mind, creating inner imprisonment. She teaches that forgiveness is not an act of weakness, but a victory of the spirit over the ego. The ego wants revenge, self-pity, pride, and emotional control. But the awakened spirit seeks peace, understanding, compassion, and freedom. And Joanna also explains something very important. Forgiving does not mean pretending that suffering did not happen. It means transforming the meaning of the experience so that pain no longer dominates the soul. In her psychological approach within Spiritism, she often says that the many emotional illnesses are intensified by unresolved conflicts, guilt, resentment, and lack of self love. Forgiveness becomes a therapeutic act for the soul. And also, she speaks about self forgiveness. Many people suffer because they cannot forgive themselves for past mistakes. Joanna reminds us that we are imperfect spirits in evolution, learning gradually. God does not expect perfection immediately. He expects effort, sincerity, and transformation. A beautiful idea present in Joanna de Angelis, teaching us that when we forgive, we stop drinking poison, hoping the other person will suffer, Charles said. And forgiveness frees the mind, calms the emotions, elevates the spiritual vibration, and allows divine peace to enter in the heart. So, for Joanna de Angelis, forgiveness is an act of emotional intelligence, a form of spiritual therapy, a liberation from suffering, and an essential step toward the true inner peace and enlightenment. Forgiveness releases hatred without denying responsibility or necessary boundaries. So we have to be very conscious that what do I want to myself. I don't know how many years I will be in this body, physical body. Let it now be a self study of my inner garden and see what I have to move inside in order to be a better place for me to be there, to rest in peace. We needed to forgive neighbors that you don't like. You have to forgive small forgiveness. Try small ones before and achieve the whole, the big ones, because otherwise we are really, really headache every day, uh, pancreatitis or kidney problems or circulation problems because we activated this poison. So we have to help our own body to be healthy. And our mind is our guide. So what our mind dictate, our body will suffer, depending on us. So let us be in peace and move on and make this planet going towards peace. And the peace is starting inside us, not the hatred, not vengeance, and not in forgiveness that we need the most. Okay? Forgiving ourselves first. I did something, a lot of times, things wrongly, but I said, okay, I did. It's in the past. Now I move on. I want to freedom. I want to do good things. I want to paint. I want to write. Move on, move on. Don't crystallize yourself in the past. Yes, Charles?
Exactly, Elsa. Very well said, what you just said. And the Spiritist body of knowledge is also teaching us that even when we die, the things do not disappear. We are not, we continue with our individuality in the spiritual realm. So we will not escape having to forgive sooner or later. It's not through the death that, okay, now I'm dead, I don't need to forgive anymore, or he's dead, I don't need to forgive him anymore. No, it's not like this. We continue, life continues, is eternal, we are immortal beings, souls, and so sooner or later we will have to forgive. So what are we waiting for? Let's do it sooner. because as Elsa just explained, it makes us free, it makes us healthy, it makes us happy. It frees us from emotional burdens, restores our inner harmony. So what are we waiting for? Let's do it. I know it's not so easy. It needs to work on ourselves. It needs also the self-forgiveness, as Elsa just told. And it's self-forgiveness is also linked to the self-esteem. And even in these moral teachings of Jesus, we know he said, love unto the other like yourself. So the people who do not have the self-esteem, the people who do not love themselves, hardly will be capable to love the others, So without forgiving ourselves, it will also be much more difficult to forgive the others. We are imperfect, we know it, we do mistakes, we know it, but staying uh, not forgiving ourselves will maintain us in this burden and will prevent us from solving the problems, from repairing what we have done wrong, from redoing what we have failed, and whatsoever. So everything indicates by simple reasoning that the best way is forgiveness. And this is why also in the definition of charity from the Spiritist point of view is benevolence for everyone, indulgence towards the imperfections of others, and forgiveness of offenses. So you see, the forgiveness is one of the three pillars of the charity. So very, very clear and simple, but the simplest things are not always the easiest to understand and to do.
I think one beautiful thing that we have so many teachings in Spiritism, so many books, so many examples, so many information that we can educate ourselves. Truly, we can see with the different eyes every situation that we are undergoing or already undergone in the past in order to understand what's going on in our life, why we are doing these things like that. And as I said before, I like very much Joana de Angeli, especially because we are living in a world that psychology is very important nowadays, how to use properly our sentiments, our moves in our life. And prayer, always we teach in Spiritism the wonderful power that prayer brings to us, helping us undergo our problems, our difficulties, our mountains of difficulties. And prayer and forgiveness are deeply connected in Spiritism, especially in Joana de Angelis' teachings in these books. Bringing the psychology, prayer is a psychology of a way of life as well. As I said, for me, my gospel, my book, or the Gospel According to Spiritism, is a book of psychology of life. If you follow what we studied there, we will be the most freedom, have the most freedom that we need in our life as a people, as a living beings. And Joana de Angeli explains that sincere prayer softens the emotions, calms the mind, and helps the heart become capable of forgiving. And sometimes people say, I want to forgive, but I still feel hurt. It's normal to do that. And Joanna teaches that forgiveness is often a process, not an instant emotional miracle. Okay? And prayer helps during this process because while we are praying, we elevate our thoughts above our anger and wounded pride. Prayer changes our inner vibration. In Spiritism, prayer is not only asking for help, it is a spiritual connection that strengthens us morally and emotionally. When we pray for someone who hurt us, little by little the hurt becomes lighter. The resentment begins to lose strength. And Jesus gave humanity one of the most difficult and transformative teachings. Pray for those who persecute you. Why? Because prayer protects our spirit from becoming spiritually poisoned by hatred. And Joanna says, when we nourish resentment, we create dark emotional fields around ourselves. But prayer opens windows of light inside the soul. It brings serenity, lucidity, and spiritual protection. And something beautiful and hopeful to remember today is this: no suffering remains forever when the soul decides to heal. Every time a person forgives, even a little, a chain is broken inside the spirit. Okay? And I'll talk to you later about a prayer, a little bit more about prayer. Okay, Stephen? I move pass to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you, my dear. Yeah. So I want you to say we have a lot of people here with us today. This is very good. Spiritizmas Tônia, Laís Guerra, Giovanna Camelo, Realia Rom, Luviem, Brusca Imbárdaga, Juana Mora,
Beautiful that Joanna wrote.
Luviem as well. Let me see. Our dear friend Ju Lazari. So it's good. It's wonderful to see people's comments. And Juana said here, forgiveness is good only for a person who forgives, because the person who caused the harm will not be exempt from the law of cause and effect. They will have to walk a mile in the harmed person's shoes.
This is
Uh,
also true, isn't it, Steven? The divine justice is perfect. It does never fail. Human justice is not the same. Some people are doing bad things and escape from the human justice, but the divine justice does not fail. So this also, when we understand this, we understand that it is not up to us to judge the others. It's not up to us to make to revenge or to make justice towards the other, because nature and divine law will take care for this. We should even it should even call us a little bit for compassion, saying, what this person has done or harmed me uh, will bring to this person a weight, a kind of a debt that this person will have to resolve somehow later on, anyhow, you know. So when we suffer injustice, it's not really our problem. It's more the problem of the person who is doing the injustice. And a lot of times we can say it is much better to suffer an injustice than to commit an injustice. It's much better for our conscience being the victims than being the aggressor. And this is part of these laws, divine laws, that Spiritist body of knowledge is recalling, and helps us to walk in the way of the forgiveness. Because a lot of times we
Great.
judge the others. It's also the teaching of Jesus about the speck and the beam in the eye. We see the speck in the eye of the others, but we do not see the beam in our eye. You know, this famous projection in psychology. We see the defect, our own defects that we don't see in ourselves. We see them in the others. And this is also one factor which makes the forgiveness more complicated.
Great. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes. There is a little bit delay, but we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes?
Okay, okay. So, Juana said to us, "This is why we return over and over to right the wrongs committed in previous lives and learn to love one another." That's the main objective. No, but I like to say that the forgiveness, it is a process. I think you agree with me, my dear Elsa. Perhaps you cannot forgive in this incarnation, but if you already started, it is something. If already you have that willing to do, if you have courage to make a prayer for that person, it is the beginning of the process. We don't know how long it's gonna takes. Some people takes minutes, hours, days, months, years, or incarnations. But it's a process. It is a
I can
process
say that
because the wound.
Stevan, you are freezing again. But
Go on, Elsa. Go on
yes,
answering.
so in Spiritism,
Hello, Silvia.
reincarnation
Welcome.
help us understand that many difficult relationships may have roots beyond this present life. And sometimes we meet people and immediately feel love, affinity, rejection, fear, or emotional tension without fully understanding why. So, Spiritism suggests that these encounters may be connected to previous experience of the soul. So, according to Spiritist understanding, families, friendships, and even conflicts are often opportunities for reconciliation, healing, and spiritual growth. Because we can have in our home someone that was our enemy from the past. And it's difficult because sometimes you don't know what's going on. Why you don't like this person, but he's your brother, he's your sister, or even your father. But it happens. Okay, that is the moment that we really forgive. I pray like that. Please, I want to forgive the ones that I don't know that I hate me, and I ask forgiveness for the spirit that maybe I did something wrong in the past. I pray for that. So a person that who today is difficult for us may once have shared another role in our spiritual journey because we are evolving together, no? And life reunites the spirits not as a punishment, but as an opportunity for learning and transformation. And prayer is really a good bridge of golden bridge for a good relationships. That and I had a guest that left a 1 hour ago, like more or less, and he was telling me that he bought apartment, organized apartment, and we reformed the apartment, and the neighbor knocked the door all the time. What we are doing? You are doing a big mess here, this and that, this and that, this and that. So he said to his wife, "We will pray for now on every day for our neighbor, and don't speak about the hatred or the thing that neighbor is showing." Okay, he did this 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, the neighbor met him in the corridor and said, "Oh, hello. So we don't see each other for a long time." He said, "I didn't even know your name. What's your name?" "Ah, my name is Ah." "Oh, it's the name of my grandmother." So starting a good relationship. If you hatred, not forgiveness or not to pray or not to change your mood, you have to cut the chain, move the chain in order to have a good relationship with the neighbors, within the family, and with ourselves, isn't it? There's a lot of things about this question, but I'll stop here now because the time is flying and Silvia arrived.
Yes.
Hello, my dear. How are
Um,
you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. I'm sorry. The other thing
Okay.
always goes longer than it should. Apologies. So, but I could manage to meet you today, and it's really good. The theme is nice as well.
Yeah.
Talking about
So
forgiveness and everything, prayer.
the floor is yours. So if you wanted to, we are saying here that forgiveness, it is a kind of process. We cannot expect, oh, are you forgiven? Then you forgive and everything's fine. It's a process. It goes.
Yeah. Well, I think I remember once Rivaldo actually explaining about this, that we can forgive, but we don't forget, because our mind is still remembers what it was. I think what happens it's when we make an effort to forgive, is that the thing doesn't weigh on us anymore so much. And I think one way of doing that is actually what Elsa was saying, is to pray, because um it's the only way for us to be able to exercise this out of us. you know it's not, oh, I forgive you. No, it's not like that. It's some First of all, it's something that you have to be conscious that you want to forgive. And it doesn't necessarily mean also that you have to be, friends with the person. You not always be possible. The gospel teaches us that there physically someone has harmed you. You don't feel the same way as you feel with a friend, but you just don't wish them any harm. You always, think positive about them. And I think as you said, it is a process that it, it helps us. But also, I think one of the things, if we start being conscious of it, is that forgiveness is for ourselves. It's not for the person that we are forgiving, because sometimes people will do things or whatever that has hurt us. But the person themselves, first of all, they may not even be aware that they hurt us or said something that was offensive. They're not even aware of that. And sometimes, if they are aware and they did it on purpose, the fact that you don't forgive them, you keep them with you all the time. And I think forgiveness is like this bag that you carry. And I said, look, I'm sorry, I don't want this bag anymore. I'm going to leave it behind and just forgive. And one of the ways that we can achieve this relief for ourselves is through prayer. As the example that Elsa was giving of the people who prayed. I had once a problem with a boss. She used to be so difficult. Like I was going on holiday. I had asked for the holidays. She had signed it. And 3 days before I left, and I had already my ticket and everything, she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I don't think you can go, because I think I'm going to need you." And I said, "But I've already have my ticket." So, and I was very upset about that. And I said, "I'm sorry, I'm going to go anyway." So eventually she said, "Oh, okay." And I said, "I've already bought, and you signed this a month ago." And things like that. She was always doing something that would make me upset and everything. Then I thought, oh, like, you get angry. But then I thought, I'm going to pray for this woman. And I started praying for her so hard, so hard. She got better. And then she decided to leave. She decided to leave the job. She went to work with her husband or whatever it was. So it works, because I think one of the things that the prayer that we had started saying a lot of positive things and prayer for the person, is that we feel better, don't we? I think it doesn't weigh on us anymore. And I think
Yeah.
that's the thing, because the forgiveness is freedom for ourselves, not for the person. They whatever they've done. And I had so many examples of that, that I prayed for someone and I felt better. And I think, oh, what the spirits teach us is true. Because, you say, pray for them, that it helps you. And it does, it was something, so, oh, yeah, you know. So I think, as you said, it's a process, takes some time, and we need to be conscious that it's a baggage that it's like someone's giving you a present that you don't want, isn't it? Thank you very much, but I'm not accepting it. I'm just putting it down and try to and pray. I think is the best way to do that, to achieve peace for ourselves. Get rid of the burden.
Yes,
Because
yes,
sometimes as well, just sometimes as well, we have so many people that are good and kind to us, and we keep thinking about the only person who has mistreated us. Have you noticed that? How we never think about all the lovely people who love you, who care for you. But someone does something nice, you keep thinking about them. It's so silly, isn't it? But so it's good to be able to invert it. To you know what I mean? In that
yes,
sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny, but at the same time, so important for us. And I agree here with you. Juana says this is why we forget when reincarnate, because if you remember the harm caused to us, or that we caused, we will never reconcile. Yeah, this is the mercy of God. And also, Martina Farah, good evening. Join us. Say good evening, dears. So thank you for joining us, Martina. Thank you. Thank you. So I think we have 5 minutes. I will say this. I'll give this 5 minutes for you guys to wrap up the idea. So can we start with you, Elsa?
Oh, yes. I would like to say thank you for all to being part this event, this episode. Without you, there is no way to do it. And thank you to benefactors that always be beside us, always inspiring us and helping us in our discussion. And you all receive the benefit of the presence of benefactors as well. So thank you all for being with us, and until next week. Thank you. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Silvia. Thank you, Stevan. And thank you, my guardian angel.
Thank you, my dear. Silvia?
I can just go. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here, even if though it's just for a few minutes. And it's important, I think, to think about this. Is a point that the conversation about forgiveness, what we need to do, and it's good to connect with other people and see how everyone deals with when they have to face certain things. So, God bless you all and have a good week. And God willing, I'll be able to come earlier next time.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next week, Silvia.
Next,
Charles?
Yes,
yeah,
so
sure. Next week I
it's
will
really a
be there.
blessing to be here again. So, and let's overcome all these difficulties in the world thanks to forgiveness. Let's work together for making this world to a better world. Let's help us mutually to overcome our imperfections. And forgiveness is definitively a key for this, for enabling us and all around us to move towards happiness.
That's happiness.
Perfect.
So,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Charles, for your comments. Um, Let me add here our announcements. So next week we have the topic emotional healing in the light of spiritism, and Rodrigo Ortega from Spain will join us. Every Saturday, 10:30 a.m., we do have the Medium's book online study. It's 10:30 a.m. in London time. Every other week, we have the Joana de Anjos study group with Dr. Anaí Fonseca from 8:30 to 10 p.m. London time. Save the date for 18th to 20th of September. We will have the 9th European Spiritist Gathering in Vegemont, Belgium. Everyone is more than welcome. And along with this event, we will have the kids and the youth European Spiritist Gathering happening at the same time. So you can go with kids and they will be along with our children there. Please keep reading. Spiritism Magazine is free, full of excellent articles. I invite you to read it. Thank you to Kardec Radio, BUS, Francophonic Spiritist Movement, Life Spiritist Society, and Irish Spiritist Federation to make this happen, and the efforts everyone have given here. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Marco Davis. Thank you, Martina. Thank you, Laís. Thank you, Juana. Thank you, Luviem. Thank you, Brusca em Bardaga. Thank you, Heather Home, Giovanna Camelo, Spiritism Estônia, Laís Guerra. Thank you. Thank you, Júlio Mélio. So, Juliana Lazari. So, thank you, everyone, for joining us today and for your time with us today. I'll see you next week. Thank you. And Silvia, thank you for joining us, even though for minutes, but it was a very
Thank
wonderful
you.
evening. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless. God bless.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.